Well, farmers will say different things, I must say. All right, we have joining us in the studio an agricultural expert, Adeni Sholabumi. Adeni, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Right, and we also have joining us on phone from Abuja, an agri expert, African farmer Mogaji. African farmer, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Yeah, fine. Really, it's nice to have you join us right now.
Thank
Now, let me start with you, Adeni. Let me ask this basic question. Do we have the rice revolution on yet?
Yes, we do.
Oh, great. That's fine.
Yes.
So make us understand, because when we say rice revolution, there are so many expectations people would like to see.
Yes. Thank you. The revolution is here already, and it's going to keep moving. For example, we do over a billion in this country per day. That's 365 billion in terms of our import bill in rice alone.
A billion what?
Naira.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
365 billion.
Yeah.
Every day. Yes. But now, we used to take up, our production was around 2 million, but now it's moving, it's decreasing because of different, programs, the favorable, environment in terms of the Anchor Bora program you just talked about. For example, now we're producing over 7 million tons of paddy, and Kebbi alone is doing 1.2. Some other 26 states key into that Anchor Bora project, and they are really working around it. Another thing that puts a smile on my face is Ogun State. Ogun State is really doing so well in rice production. Another beautiful thing is the Lagos State 32 per hour mill that was signed around July. We're expecting that mill to be installed by July 2018. So for me as a stakeholder, I'm already preparing to key into that. Just keep some hectares of land somewhere and produce paddy for the center. The meaning of this is the zonal integration. The state within the West can be sure of, we produce paddy, there's already an off-taker for this paddy, which is the Lagos processing center. So for me, I see the whole thing is really moving, and the way it's moving, I'm seeing 10 years time, we'll surely be the highest producer in Africa. Currently, we are the third after Egypt and Madagascar. We should be we are the highest in West Africa. I'm looking at us being the highest producer in Africa, and we'll start exporting. I'm looking at the next 10 years.
It's really, really optimistic.
I like
it's already
kind of
putting
picture.
your smile on our
Yeah, I'm always smiling.
I'm smiling already.
African farmer, do you agree with Sholabumi when he says it really is looking good? Nigeria does have a rice revolution right now.
Well, I agree to a point.
Okay.
We have a rice revolution that has been initiated. However, I'm very big on sustainability. And so most of these figures, we need to verify them. Some are true. What the facilities being installed, they are all right, yes. But production, yes, we are one of the largest producers, but we also need to pay attention that we are very huge in consumption. And for those factories to be sustainable, we need to be producing about 5 to 10 times what we consume. So right now, I'm not sure about the sustainability. Not that we're not producing the rice, but the sustainability for the private sector, professionals and investors who are coming into the sector. I'm in Abuja now. Yesterday I spoke at the 47th annual conference of ICANN, and they brought me to talk about agriculture. And they made some commitments as a body and the members to get involved in agriculture, about 4,000 plus of them. If they get into the sector, have we made provisions, the strategy to ensure that 2 years, 3 years down the line, they will not run away? That's why some of us are giving our time to bodies like that. But from government, yes, government has started, but we need to do more. We've done too much analysis. The data I am not so sure of, because in the last 15, 20 years, most of the data we see don't tally with the realities in the field. Like the farmers will complain, and they are complaining. Okay, and if you don't start with the farmers with quality fertilizers, it's still not there. Where in other countries you would use close to maybe 10 bags per hectare of land, we're still using like 3, 4 here. So a lot needs to happen. People bring in rice mills, even though the tariff is not supposed to be paid, there's still a lot of logistics with customs and co. So we need a policy statement that will be adequately implemented, that will protect the people bringing the fund. If not, the trend in maybe 10 years plus is that, yes, they start and the bottleneck shows up and they move out. They just abandon the project. So we need government to really show up and show that this thing we're serious about. Take, for instance, when late Governor Agago was trying to revamp Okitipa oil palm, he changed many permanent secretaries because they were not operating at his goals. You know, so bottom line is that we need to see government come out with its full rod, you know, against any either staff or private sector, anyone operating in the sector who will not help them achieve their goals. So,
all right, Mogaji, will allow you actually enlighten us more on exactly what you would have government do. But let's find out from Sholabumi. He's saying that a whole lot more has to be done, especially the issue of sustainability. Do you have concerns about how sustainable this rice revolution, which you say is already in process, is?
Yes, I do. I think I also
but
agree
do you
with
see
him.
any challenges at all that
Yes,
Mogaji
of course,
is listing?
of course.
Okay.
In everything, there's always a challenge,
Yeah.
and they are surmountable. Like he said, like he rightly said, the issue of our policy not being consistent is another thing. Don't forget, in this same rice industry, we have the ban on ban thing. This has actually caused a lot of people to like move back. But looking at it for the past, let's say 9 years, 10 years now, let's say from the government of Obasanjo, then that of Goodluck, there's been push for rice, and it's really moving. Like you said, we need to expose people to the best agronomy practice in terms for the farmers now.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about availability of the inputs, they are expensive. And in rice farming, inputs chalk up to like 60% of what you're spending on agrochemicals. You have your post-emergence, your pre-emergence, your post-emergence, your fertilizer. And don't forget, it's within 4 months that you get this. So most people still don't even understand how to go about it. For example, recently I saw a lot of farm that was being taken over by weed. And most of the agrochemical, most of the chemical that these farmers bought were not really working. So next year, such farmer will not want to do anything around rice. So I think I share the same thing with him in the area of exposing the farmers to the right agronomy procedure, then availability, I think affordable. These agrochemicals has to be affordable. Okay. You can't get maximum output when you are not putting in the right input. So it's possible. No, it's not about the size of the land. I think it's about the output. If I'm doing 1 hectare and I'm getting the result that somebody that is doing half an hectare is getting, I'm still not getting it.
And the output will have to do with the quality of seeds too.
Of course, your input, the total input, your input, your seed. If you want to do an hybrid seed, you need the right species and the species that you are sure of. Another thing is your chemicals. Now, the problem is we don't even get these seeds too. Sometimes you plant grain instead of seed, or let's say you plant food instead of seed. Do you understand? My harvested grain now, if I'm supposed to process them or sell as a paddy,
yes,
in some cases I sell again and some other farmer takes and use it to plant.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Instead of them getting an hybrid seed, an high quality seed from a center, maybe a government subsidized youth centers, but I believe these challenges are surmountable. We should just keep moving ahead.
But shouldn't a plant be self-propagating?
Well,
there
are so many variables to things to make it, because a lot of things will have to go into it. But African Farmer, let me come back to you on this. You talked about the issue of available data earlier on, and to a very great extent, I agree with you to a great extent. But however, there are some data available that are official that we certainly have to work with. It shows that Nigeria consumes about 7 million metric tons of rice currently and produces about 2.7 metric tons. It means there's a shortfall of about 4.7 million metric tons. And then there are projections that by 2050 that we could be having about 37 million metric tons of consumption. And this is going to be based on population increase at 2.7%. Now, how much of a challenge is the issue of population increase as a burden to the issue of rice production and self-sufficiency here?
Well, I don't see it as a major challenge. Why? Because in the history of Nigeria, the private sector, especially professionals and businesses and other sectors, it's unprecedented that they all want to get involved in agriculture. So now that we have the attention of other sectors, individuals and corporate, we won't have that challenge. We only need to secure and ensure, give them confidence that this policy drive, this revolution that has started, is there to stay. So it's just the confidence required that they need. Now, the reason why we have most of the data that you shared is because they are imports. And I can tell you that that may not be the total picture, but at least we have that. So transparency in data. If you want to do anything, you'll find a different statistics on Bureau of Statistics. You'll find a different one in FAO. You find different data that, you have challenges in drawing up a good business plan. And this is a good business plan influences the outcome of any investment. So we need that transparency in data that people would be able to have confidence. But I can tell you, we are Nigerians. We make things happen when we want to do things. So I have no challenge about meeting the food need. We will make it happen. We only
all right, Mogaji, let me come in here. Beyond the academics of it all, at the end of the day, you need the Nigerian to buy into Abakaliki rice or Fada and all the rest of them. What can stakeholders do, including governments, to actually sell the fact and the truth of the matter that Nigerian rice is actually better in quality and nutritional value than the imported, say, Thailand rice?
Good. You see, it's mostly about marketing and branding. And we have top-notch experts in Nigeria. A policy statement I would like to hear from the presidency is that no imported rice will be consumed, and across the states and local government. And so when we see that, and it's been implemented, there's a difference between saying it in one program online and on air, and behind the scenes something else is happening because they will not be able to monitor. So once a policy comes out and is being implemented that across any government function, December when rice is about to be distributed, it will be local rice. Anyone found, serving imported rice will have issues. So once we begin to do that and we do the right branding in terms of nutrition, and don't forget that Nigerians now are paying more attention to what they eat, nutrition. So we don't have any issue. The branding, everything we need to make this revolution work, we have it.
All right, African farmer, thank you very much. You're painting the picture, a very good picture too, to make us smile in here. Thank you for talking to us on TVC Breakfast African Farmer. Now, Adeni, before we let you go now, there are different rice clusters in the country. You talked about Ogun State earlier on. There's the one in KB State.
The largest producer of rice.
Fine. And then we have in Nasarawa State, we have in Ebonyi State.
Anambra,
exactly. We have in Benue State. In all of this, you mentioned the issue of species of rice. How many species of rice do we have in the country, really?
Yeah, when you talk about species, it's almost 1,000 of different species. But what we do is, when you say local rice, there are some names that have become an household name.
Yes.
You'll be talking of Ofada.
Ofada, exactly.
Ofada is like dominating the whole Southwest. Don't forget Ekiti has Igbimo. But Ofada is actually, even if you are taking the Igbimo rice, if you're not careful, you
call it Ofada.
Call it Ofada. The same thing if you move to the Southeast zone, you are looking at Anambra rice. But if you are not careful, you say, okay, it's the Ebonyi rice.
Abakaliki
rice. So you see, each of these local, they have this top name around it already. But you might not be able to differentiate, but the difference is there. You have some that, the shapes. But majorly, what Nigerians really want, the market, is not the local one alone. The local one will play its own part. Why the normal rice we import from India, Thailand, China can also be grown here, and that is what is going on in Lekki. So the next thing is you just do the value addition by your parboiling. You are removing the bag. You are doing the destoning. You are doing the polishing. So if you look at now, let me tell you, some of the rice you are taking now are even produced in Nigeria. Some of the brands, you don't even know the difference now.
Many of them don't know that.
Many people don't know. But how can we
make Nigeria local rice cheaper, way cheaper, more competitive than the imported?
As time goes on, it's going to be cheaper. It's all about availability of it. The demand now is higher than the supply. But as time goes on, when you have excess supply, then it's a simple thing. So the meaning of this is let's keep moving. You know, let's keep producing. Now we're becoming earth conscious, like you said.
Oh, yes.
Because no nation will give you a fresh produce. These things we are bringing from Thailand, India, they are like 5 years. You know, the new is a first come, first serve thing. Yes. When they have the new one, they keep them in store, release the old one to us. But as time goes, we are moving gradually. Now, if you see a brand, you don't even know it's from Nigeria. Now, your father package, our local rice has been packed and is appealing to people. He's looking good and people are taking it. But as time goes on, the more we produce, you know, the cheaper it will become. And the association is saying we are going to be getting 6,000. I don't know whether you came out. So I'm watching that we're getting 6,000 per 50 kg bag.
That's the lake rice.
The general is the association of the rice producers. Say 6,000. So
well, it looks good, I must say, and we'll keep smiling, and we'll look forward to greater news from that side. Adeni Sholabumi, thank you for coming on the program.
Thanks for
thank you so much.